First off, I would like to say categorically that as a movement, we do not believe that we are being divisive. And I think that it's unfortunate that those terms would be used by people who we think should know better. When we say Obi or nothing, that statement doesn't exist in a vacuum. That statement was not pulled out of the air. That statement is in response to a certain atmosphere. And while we are fully in support of the coalition building process, it needs to be remembered by all parties concerned that that's exactly what it is, a coalition building process. We are not a monolith as a movement, like you rightly said, and even the coalition itself is a work in progress. So when we say Obi or nothing, coming from a movement that is named the Obedient movement, I think it's right on the nose what we mean. But for people who may choose to misconstrue it or put a different spin on it, let me spell it out plainly. It is simply a statement that is affirmative of where we stand in the political process. We have chosen Peter Obi, right, in the midst of so many players who have a right to run and who are capable of running. But a generation of Nigerians who were previously accused of being apathetic to politics, in the past few years looked at the situation and really, in a very organic process, evolved to say, you know what, we want to be a part of this process. And in being a part of this process, we need to look at the playing field and determine who amongst these players, right, best embodies the values that we have. And what are those values? Values that drive a Nigeria that works for everybody, not for some people. And Peter Obi, a movement coalesced around him very organically. He didn't pay for it. He couldn't pay for it. It's very organic. It is people that are passionate about the country. It is people that are passionate about what we want to see in the Nigeria of the immediate and in the near-term future. He represents all of those values. We can capture it in several words: character, competence, capacity, all right? So when we say Peter Obi or nothing, we are affirming where we stand. Does that mean we have rejected the coalition building process? No, we are part of it. We are currently engaging. If you look at the news around the country, Obidients, since his official joining of the ADC, have started making moves to actually join the partisan structure itself. And let's address the elephant in the room. Having said all that I said, a certain rhetoric started to emerge, which we will not be shy about responding to. A certain rhetoric that made it look like there's a predetermined outcome, right, of the process. And let me say this way. If I were the spokesperson of the ADC, here's what I would say to people who are loudly, not insulting anyone, but loudly and rightfully so, affirming their support for a specific individual. I would speak to their passion. I would not poo-poo it. I would harness that passion. I would seek to gain their trust. And what do you mean by gaining the trust? I would reassure them, because there is a trust deficit in this country in the political space. We have seen movements come and go. We have political slogans come and go. We have all of the things that are going on, and people really are jaded about all that. And there's an uncompromising position about, you know what, we have to get this right. We do not want a country anymore where the aspirations of young people are centered around how to leave the country. All right, so I would seek to gain trust with this demographic. I would not seek to lecture them, because truly you do not have a lot of moral authority as far as these young people are concerned, and that's just the truth. I would not lecture. I would seek to gain consensus. I would seek to gain their trust. I would seek to reassure that, hey, listen guys, we hear you, we understand you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do in this process. We're going to make it as transparent as possible, right? We're going to make sure that all voices are heard. I would not seek to be shutting down any voices at such an early stage in the process.
Okay, so you've said a couple of things. You know, you've affirmed that the Obedient movement is also part of the coalition building process. You're not against the coalition. You've said there are so many individuals involved who have the right to run, who are also capable and they are competent. And then, of course, you know that there have been calls for all the aspirants to close ranks. So in that kind of situation, would you still support the APC even if Peter Obi does not eventually pick up the ticket as the presidential candidate? The ADC.
The ADC.
Yes.
Right. Again, like I said, this is a movement that has organically grown around a specific individual. And we will not be apologetic about that. And we will leave no one in doubt that our loyalty is to the country called Nigeria. Our political allegiance is to the leader of this movement. Peter Obi. That support, that very granular, very organic support is non-negotiable. It will not be subjected to horse trading, right? We will not sacrifice the values that we hold on the altar of political convenience. We have interactions. And again, this is one of the things that endear a lot of people who support this movement in the man. We have interactions with him all the time, right? And he understands where the people who support him stand, right? We are not for sale. We envision a Nigeria that is led by a person like Peter Obi. Fortunately for us, we don't have to imagine him. He exists, right? He has a track record, right? So we can point to an individual and say, this guy looks like the guy that will give us the kind of country that we want. And that is what the support is all about. Now, are you going to come tomorrow and tell us, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to be, stepping back from the race. Okay, so fine. We all step down from the race. But we do not see a situation where the conductor becomes the driver, in a manner of speaking. We believe, in as much as we are part of the coalition building process, right? We believe that when we put the players on the board, in every team, you put your best players forward. We are unequivocally saying that we believe that this is the best striker we have on this team. And we believe that he should lead the squad.
But you are just one of the several voices.
Yes.
So
yes.
Your voice alone cannot determine
and we are not
who
saying so.
eventually emerges.
We are saying, don't tell us to shut up. That's what we are saying. Like I said earlier, we have not gone around insulting anyone. We have gone around preaching the message of, this is the guy that we believe in, Mr. Peter Obi. That is without prejudice to anyone else. It's a democratic process, right? We recognize other people's right to support who they want to support. But that right or that recognition does not then mean that we have lost the focus, right, of who our support is for. Now, if a situation emerges tomorrow and we see clearly through a process that, all right, it looks like we might be needing to make some compromises, that conversation can then be had. But if you out of the gate, from the jump, begin to make statements and begin to take a position that makes it look like there's a predetermined outcome, we have an obligation to ourselves and what we stand for to remind everybody that this is not a fait accompli. There's no predetermined outcome here. We do have our agenda and we are not apologizing about that agenda. So let's then come together and have a conversation. And like I said, it's one thing to have rhetoric coming from different stalwarts, maybe online, people talking. It's another thing to make official statements, right? If I do not know if the party position is in alignment with Mr. Abdullahi's